Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see so many of you here today early on a Saturday morning, prioritizing your health and wellness. You guys should be proud of yourselves, and if you are, give yourselves a pat on the back. I know some of you even did a workout this morning. We had a great talk from Dr. Bill about movement and doing that throughout your life. So it goes well into my presentation when I'm going to be talking about building a healthy habits and a lifestyle. So my name is Dr. Ami Patel. I'm a board-certified pharmacotherapy specialist and a licensed clinical pharmacist. I specialize in internal medicine and preventative healthcare. My passion for preventative healthcare comes from my own struggles with a condition called polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS. It's a woman's hormone health condition caused by a hormone imbalance. If PCOS remains unmanaged, it can cause other complications and diseases like cancer, diabetes, mental health disorders, infertility, and heart disease. And that's just to name a few of them. Over the years, I've tried many different things to reach my health goals. And sometimes I would reach my health goals, but I wouldn't be able to maintain the results. For example, I would lose weight, but then I would gain it all back. And even worse, I would gain more weight back. I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Yes. So I realized that PCOS is a lifelong condition. So that means I have to learn to manage it despite the holidays, despite traveling, despite living a busy life. And I've tried many things throughout the years. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 steps to help you guys not just build a healthy lifestyle, but also maintain it. These are tips that have worked well for me, as well as my clients in my one-to-one coaching program. Some of the concepts I'm going to be talking about are also from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. With the show of hands, how many of you guys took New Year's resolutions this year? A few people, okay. How many of you still remember what your New Year's resolution is and are pursuing it? Okay, some of you. For those of you that are no longer pursuing your New Year's resolution, what were some of the obstacles that you faced? Organization, okay. Time, was time an issue? Yeah, following through, staying motivated for that, right? Okay. Thank you for sharing those. We're going to be addressing some of the obstacles that you guys faced in the rest of my presentation. So the first step, which you guys can follow along in the handout, and there's questions at the end of each step to help you walk away today with a plan of how you're going to change your lifestyle. So the first step starts with changing your mindset. So as James Clear said in his book, the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of our identity. So what he's saying in this is that a lot of times we form habits based on the goal that we want to achieve. So if we want to lose weight, we think that the habit needs to be that I wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym 5 days a week, and only then will I consider myself healthy. But what he suggests in his book instead is to have an identity-based habit, which you can see in your handout, the diagrams. And an example of that is when I was trying to lose weight with PCOS, I thought that meant that I couldn't eat any more sugar and I had to cut it all out of my diet. But really that just it made me feel really restricted. It made me feel guilty when I did have the sugar. But instead I changed my identity to believe that I'm in control of my PCOS and it's not controlling me. And that innately led me to make better health choices. It led me to enjoy sweets, but in moderation. Another thing that helped with the mindset shift is having positive thinking. So that for me, that looked like practicing gratitude. And as Dr. Bill mentioned as well, like self-love and compassion. So for me, I was practicing gratitude for my body and the progress I was making. So last fall, I broke my ankle and I felt really down about it for a long time, but I had a mindset shift that I actually appreciate that my body can heal the ankle on its own without surgery or a cast. Another mindset shift is changing negative self-talk. I know for me, I was my own worst critic. I was really hard on myself. I would say things like, yeah, of course you're not going to lose weight. You didn't go to the gym this morning. Or, yeah, you should not have had that pizza for lunch, even though it was free at work. You shouldn't have given in to your cravings. Some of you guys can definitely relate to that. But for me, what helped is talking to myself like I would with a loved one. And if my friends were in that situation, I would say to them, well, it's okay that you didn't go to the gym this morning. The day's not over yet. You could still go for a walk outside, or it's okay that you had pizza this morning. You can have a better meal for dinner, or take your lunch that you're planning to eat tomorrow. So it's just giving yourself that grace and self-compassion and love, and that keeps you more motivated on your journey. So the question for this section, if you guys want to take a moment to fill it out, is I identify as a blank person, and to me that means. So it could be anything. It could be like you identify as a healthy person, a strong person, a confident person, and what does that mean to you? Okay, step number 2 is creating small achievable goals. So if we think back to the New Year's resolutions, sometimes we get really excited and motivated, like, okay, this is a new year, it's going to be a new me. But if we think back, sometimes we create goals that are not necessarily realistic, and we set ourselves up for failure just from the beginning. So what James Clear talks about in his book is, instead of coming up with an unachievable goal, we form small goals that we improve on 1% every single day for 365 days. So by the end of 1 year, we will have progress 38%. And this basically helps us build up the I can do it attitude. It helps, keeps you self-motivated and builds encouragement. So some examples of this are, if you want to start eating healthy, you might say that, okay, I want to have a salad for lunch every day. But if you generally don't like fruits and vegetables, that might not be a realistic goal to have. But instead, a small habit you can do is say that you're going to add 1 piece of fruit to one of your meals every single day. And then after that, the following week, you can add 1 piece of vegetable to one of your meals every single day. So basically just building on that. Another example is, if generally you don't like working out, then something you can do is start with like 5 minutes of walking or doing yoga, instead of saying that, okay, I'm going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. 5 days a week. So it's about starting small and adding on to it. So the question for step number 2 is, think about your identity that you set in step 1 and the habit you want to form. So what is the first, smallest, no-brainer, fail-proof step that you can take? Trying to drink more water? So you can, so actually it goes well into step number 3, which I will talk about. But something that you can, so you're asking like, what's a small step you can take? So you can, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, so actually I'll be talking about those things in step 3, which I can go into now. So we want to make that step really easy and visible. So for example, another thing is time can be an issue. A lot of people say, I don't have time to form these new healthy habits. So James Clear gives a concept called habit stacking. So basically that means that you take, like many of us already have routines we already do, such as like waking up in the morning, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, going to and from work, coming home, having a nighttime routine before going to sleep. So the concept is, you take a habit you're already doing and you add the new habit that you want to instill in right after it. So if you forget to, like for example, drinking more water. So what you can do is, right after you finish brushing your teeth, you can have a water bottle there, so that every time, as soon as you're done brushing your teeth, you can drink water. If you have coffee every morning, while your coffee is brewing, you can have a cup of water there, so that while the coffee is brewing, you can drink the water. The same concept goes with vitamins. If you forget to take your vitamins, those are some places where you can keep your vitamins. So basically you're already doing the habit. As soon as that habit is done, you do the new habit. It's easy to see because it's already on your counter. Another example is if you want to implement like 2 minutes of breathing throughout your day to manage your stress. That's something you can add on as soon as you wake up or right before you go to sleep, or even like when you drive to work, you can just take 2 minutes to breathe before you get inside your workplace. So the question here is, what is one habit I do now that I can add my first achievable step to? And also there's a diagram of blocks. So on the bottom, you can put like the habit you're already doing, like brushing your teeth. Or another example is like going to the gym. Sometimes we pick gyms that they might have a better membership deal, but if it's out of the way, then how helpful is that? So the habit could be like going to work, and then the second block could be going to the gym, and then the top block would be coming home from the gym. Step number 4 is have accountability. So there's 3 types of accountability: personal, peer, and professional. So some examples of personal accountability is checking in with yourself, having reminders via sticky notes or using your phone. There's a great app called Yap. It sends you reminders throughout the day. You can also put in positive affirmations on the app. And another tool from Atomic Habits is something called habit tracking. And you can see on your handout, there's a diagram. And in there, the goal isn't to necessarily fill up all 7 days, but to be as consistent as possible. And this helps you see your progress, and you want to try not to miss more than 2 days in a row, or else that's the start of a new habit. So for example, like with the water question, that's something that you could fill in, like drink more water, and you can be more specific, like drink one more cup of water every day, right? That's like one small, simple thing that you could do, 1 cup. You don't want to jump from like not drinking any water to, okay, I'm going to drink like 3 liters every single day. Some examples of peer accountability is things like having a workout buddy, or if you have a friend that doesn't live close by, but you both want to eat healthy, something you can do is do like a recipe exchange. Each week, you guys decide that today we're going to make, or this week we're going to make this one new healthy recipe. Professional accountability is working with personal trainers or health coaches or dietitians. Sometimes an obstacle is that we don't know where to get started with the lifestyle changes, and so professionals can definitely help you with that. So the question for this section is, which type of accountability am I going to start with? No, it's all good. Okay, step number 5 is celebrate your wins. So going back to also positive thinking, the habit tracker is a great way to appreciate the progress you made. It's a visual that you can see, and you can even look back at all of the other times you filled it out for the other weeks. Another thing is listing your non-scale victories. So non-scale victories are things that you can't necessarily see, like a movement on the scale or something you can't measure, but they're things that you feel. For example, like if you started implementing breathing exercises, you have less stress throughout your day, so you're sleeping better, and the next day you have more energy and you're more focused at work. Another example is if you start eating more nutritious meals, you might feel more satisfied with your meals, you have less sugar cravings after your meals, you feel less hungry between your meals. And ultimately, we make these measurable goals because it's something we can track, but the feeling that we really want to achieve is that feeling of comfort in our bodies, right? The feeling of being more energized, the feeling of being less stressed. And so non-scale victories are a great way to see all the progress that you've made. The question for this section is, how am I going to celebrate my wins? So as a bonus, we're going to be talking about how to break a bad habit. So throughout the presentation, I basically said things like, you want to make the habit simple and easy to do and visible. So the opposite of that, to break a bad habit, is make it invisible and difficult. So some examples of that is like if you get stuck into like doom scrolling or a Netflix binge at night, Some things you can do is keeping your phone in another room, keeping your remote control somewhere else, unplugging your TV, or logging out of your subscriptions every single time you are done watching Netflix. Another example is with junk food, trying to put it in places where it's not visible at the eye level, like putting it high on a counter or in low cabinets, and instead putting like healthy snacks and fruits out on the counter. So the question for this section is, how am I going to make, and then you can fill in the blank of whatever bad habit it is that you want to break, invisible and difficult. So I'd like to summarize all the key points by leaving you guys with the affirmation. This is something that I came up for myself at the beginning of my health journey. As I mentioned, I faced many challenges. And the affirmation is, be kind to yourself, be patient, focus on progress and not perfection. And before I take any questions, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to my friends and family for being here today to support me, as well as supporting me in my health journey.